everybody, and welcome to Generally Speaking, the podcast that bridges the worlds of pop culture and personal development. I'm your host, Jennifer Snook. I'm so happy to be here with you today. We have so much to catch up on. But before we get started, if you're watching this on YouTube, please make sure you reach out and smash that subscribe button. I would appreciate it. Okay, now we got to get Christy on the line because there is so much to talk about today. Hi, birthday girl.
Hi,
How are you?
I am filled with cupcakes and joy.
And another beautiful year of life.
Yeah,
So yesterday was Christy's birthday, everybody. 53 years old. Look at that. 53 has never looked better.
right? It's amazing. And your message made me cry. The part that made me cry was you said, "Look how lucky we are that we've had each other for this long."
Yeah, don't say that. I'm already very emotional.
Right? It's that we've had each other for this long.
No, it's the most like special fucking thing. It's amazing.
It really is.
So tell me, I didn't want to call you yet. That's why I sent you voice messages all day yesterday because I wanted you to know that I was with you, but I didn't want to take up your birthday day. So, tell me about it.
So, I celebrated Wednesday. We went to the Giants game in San Francisco, and that was great. I love a good day baseball game. I had a crab sandwich, the greatest thing at Oracle Park, a Ghirardelli sundae.
I mean, all the best.
Yeah, and had Chinese food last night, and just
The beauty of getting older is that you really do just, it's really not about the party. It's just so about just the gratitude, about the fact that you just are still here. I mean, we've lost a lot of people. You know what I mean? By the time you get to 53, everyone by this point has lost quite a few people. And it changes your perspective. And when you wake up every morning, you really are just so grateful that you get another day.
exactly, and just get into yourself. What makes I'm supposed to have more protein, and I'm taking creatine and all that other stuff too, trying to be your greatest self.
Well, you realize and understand that you have to appreciate yourself and care for yourself in a way that you didn't while you were taking life for granted. Because when you get to this point, you stop taking it for granted and you realize that it needs to be cared for and tended to. So that's why we start doing things like creatine I remember being younger and reading like a People magazine or something. And I feel like I used to read these articles about these women they would do profiles on. And when they were like in their 50s, they would all say, I'm healthier than I've ever been. And I used to think, that doesn't even make sense. How could that be? All these people, they're like, this is the best age I've ever been. And everything that it ever took to get here was worth it. And now, I appreciate, and they used to just extol the virtues of getting older. And I used to be so confused by it.
Right, because you were probably 22 reading it going, no way, I'm in my prime right now.
Well, and you don't even really know that it's your prime, but just like the concept of like living that way feels so foreign. And I'm like, what? And now I'm living that exact life. And now I fully get it.
Yeah, and 50 doesn't look like 50 used to look back in the day.
No. Well, right, because we were looking at 50 with 20 something, 30 something, 40 something year old eyes. And then when you look at it with 50-year-old eyes, it's
With
suddenly
glasses on.
no, speaking of glasses, mine just broke. The dog stepped on him.
Been
So
there.
I have to order another 6 pack of readers because that's how I order them. Like
That's how
six
we
pack,
are.
12 packs. I have to just have them all over the house.
Exactly. Same here.
Age. But how lucky are we?
How lucky are
How
we?
lucky are we? I mean, honestly,
Totally.
I feel that way. Nobody luckier.
How was Carla's wedding?
Oh, Carla's wedding. Another just amazing event full of love and lifelong friendships. And it was spectacular. And that will make me emotional too. I mean, just 1 week ago today, let's see, it's 11:49 as we're recording this. So yeah, we were ready and Do you know that I took half of the wedding pictures without any mascara on? The first half of wedding pictures, I had no fucking mascara on. None at all. I was so pissed off. All of a sudden, I looked at myself. I'm like, what's missing? Oh, yeah, dummy. You didn't put the mascara on. And I didn't put the mascara on because before the wedding, before I was leaving my mom and I got into it a little bit. We really didn't get into it. She just reacted to something that I said. She took it personally on someone else's behalf. My mother sometimes does this. She just says shit without thinking about it. And she comes back at me with, she thinks I'm so mean. You're just so mean. I don't understand why so many people like you. It just confuses me. She said that to me. And
Yeah.
and I go, did you really just say that? And she goes, well, I just don't get it. I just think you're so mean. And really, nothing I said was mean. I was really just trying to look out for her, but she took it as a dig on her boyfriend. And so she came back at me with something harsh, telling me she didn't understand why people loved me so much, which I don't really understand how you could say that to your kid. But anyway, she did. And so anyway, it rocked me a little bit because here I was so excited. My mom's going to this wedding, right? And she comes at me with this line, and it upset me. And that's why I didn't put the mascara on because
Ah,
every time I thought about it, I would start to tear up and I didn't want to tear up and have mascara. And you know, if you put mascara on and then you cry a little bit, it almost changes the texture and then your eyelashes look psychotic. So anyway, I was going to wait till the emotion of my mother's out of line comment passed, which I knew it would eventually, right? So I was going to wait. So anyway, but I waited and I forgot. And so I took half of these fucking wedding pictures without mascara. And then I go to Carla. I'm like, can you believe I just took all those pictures without any mascara? She goes, you what? And she goes, well, you know, we can't go take them again. I said, I know, don't worry, but I'm going to put the mascara on. I'll have mascara on for every other picture. But anyway, the wedding was amazing. I I walked down that aisle and that was so surreal. I mean, because we've walked down that aisle a million times. That was the church in which I gave my dad's eulogy. I mean, that church, I mean, I had my first communion in that church. You know what I mean? Just so much personal history has happened in that church. I had Paul, Paul, our dear Paul, my high school boyfriend, sitting behind me through this wedding because at the church now the bridal party doesn't stand on the altar anymore.
Why?
I don't know. Now they put them in the pews. But anyway, I was just sitting there thinking of Carla. Here we are, 53. Carla's getting married for the first time. And like life was just, I was thinking of watching my little brothers and my sister. This will make me emotional too. Do their first communion. And there was just this beautiful flood of memories. I remember being in maybe it was our senior year of high school, I think, when Paul and I went to midnight mass and he gave me a promise ring. And I remember being
Oh,
in that church, looking at that promise ring, and the lights from the church were making it glisten. And there was my dear Paul sitting behind me. And here we were celebrating the marriage. We're clearly not married, but there we were celebrating. I mean, it was just the beautiful, rich history and tapestry of our friend group and everyone that was there. And it was so absolutely sweet. And then, just to bring it back around to my mom, I looked out at the dance floor, and you know who was on the dance floor the whole time? My mother. My mother with stage 4 cancer, who I don't know how many days she has left on this earth. And I just sat there, and my daughter Ryan flew in from New York so that she could be at Carla's wedding, and she helped us so much. Lisa and I pulled I mean, I arrived on Wednesday and there was so much to do for the rehearsal dinner. Thank God my Ryan was with us. Lisa and Ryan and me, we just were like, it was wedding game on. You know what I mean? Balls to the wall wedding. And And it was just so amazing. And we all got it done. And I looked at my mom on the dance floor, dancing with my friends, having the time of her life. And I just thought, life isn't perfect, but I mean, how lucky am I? You talk about lucky. I would rather have my mom there after 100 fights than I know there's going to be a day very soon where I'm going to wish that she was there under any circumstance. So I just sat there and had to just, just shift my perspective and just sit in gratitude and just be so grateful that we were all able to be there together. And it was so special.
I love it.
And here I am.
And people do like and love you. Oh,
It's okay. I know that is
that's
a her thing, not a me. I know that. I know that.
that's amazing. And I love that she was dancing, and I saw pictures of it online. So
I haven't even done my post. Lisa posted and tagged me. My sweet Lisa. That was the other thing. Everyone in the bridal party was so much fun. It was such a communal experience. And I mean, Lisa and I have been so tight for so long. So to come together to put this on for Carla and to be there for Carla was just a dream. It was a dream.
yeah, looked beautiful. Very happy.
And Carla was gorgeous and so happy. And I have not posted this yet. When I do, you're gonna die. When it was time for the garter toss, she put on a show that rivaled the best of the best. I'm just sitting there looking at her going, what is happening here? Done. I mean, a full Jessica Rabbit. I mean, with the music and everything. And you are gonna die because I saw it coming from a distance. I had no idea this was part of a plan. I just felt the energy shift and I grabbed my phone and I got the whole thing on camera and I'm going to post it. So
can't wait.
No, you can't wait. Trust me.
Oh my God. You know what I just remembered? Someone commented that they would like to see what we looked like when we were younger and in high school. So I need to
Oh, I saw that comment. I was going to post. I thought about it.
I said that I was going to show a picture of you and I. So I need to find one of us that.
I don't think we have any pictures of us do you know of any pictures of us when we were like young, like 10?
We had matching Dorothy Hamill haircuts. Yeah, but I think our pictures, we started taking them in high school.
Yeah.
Junior high people.
So which picture do you have?
I have a picture of you and I. I've got to find it though. And we were at the prom. The night
when we were in your front yard?
My front yard.
Oh God.
And I was the prom queen that night.
Yes, you were, sweetie.
1990. And Paul Giacalone, Jen's boyfriend. Was he your boyfriend? No, at the time.
Yes.
He was the prom king.
Yes, we were at that prom together.
Yeah. So anyways, I've got to find the picture of us.
You know what I was thinking that I should wear to our reunion? What about that prom dress? Do you remember my polka dotted prom dress that Paul didn't go to the prom with me because he was embarrassed of my polka dotted prom dress, which I got from Neiman Marcus and I thought it was so chic and so not what everyone else was doing. And I loved that dress and he was so embarrassed by it that he would not go with me. So Eric Stewart flew in from Mammoth and he went to the prom with me too.
I remember Eric Stewart, your neighbor.
And Paul was so pissed. That's what you get for caring about what everyone else thinks about your girlfriend's polka dotted dress.
Wow, I didn't know.
I'm not going to not go to the prom. I just bought the dress.
Yeah, it was white with polka dots.
Yes, it was.
Okay. Well, anyway.
Well, while you're looking for that, let me ask you this. Are you going to, the Gilroy Garlic Festival tickets go on sale the 31st of this month. And I am buying tickets, but I have to tell you, I am a little stressed about the festival.
Why?
Just because it's not going to be at Christmas Hill. So I don't know. You know what I mean?
It's at a different spot.
Yes, it's at Bonfani Gardens, and I'm just not sure. Like, I feel like the vibe of that is just so different But
Right.
I'm open. I'm open and ready to be pleasantly surprised. But I just know that Christmas Hill Park was such a huge character in the Garlic Festival story. It's hard to imagine it without it.
Right. But you're going.
Yeah. For you guys that don't know, the Gilroy Garlic Festival started in 1979. I remember pushing my little brother around the very first festival. It was so small. And then it got to the point where at one point we were 30,000 people a day, Chris. And you know they are limiting this year to 3,000 people a day. It was 30,000. Every
Wow.
year it was 30,000 and now it's 3,000 a day instead of 30. And but what happened, you guys, was if you don't know, there was a shooting, a mass shooting at the Gilroy Garlic Festival. And how long ago was that?
5 years maybe.
I will never
Horrible.
forget that day. We were at
Horrible.
we were at that festival. We left on Saturday to get back to a party at Rihanna's house. She made me promise to get to this party, so we left early, and I was at the party when I got the call from my sister, who I just knew something was wrong as soon as I heard her voice. Kristen Doty was at that same party, and she came up and she sat with me and she held my hand because I remember shaking so hard when I got that call from my sister. Everybody that we loved was at that festival. I mean, my family, my brothers. I mean, I'm like, I couldn't even, my
Yeah.
fingers were like all over the place.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy that it's back where it belongs.
I'm
I
happy that it's back
I'm
too.
gonna find our pictures next podcast, but I do have one
Isn't
of
that picture on Facebook?
it is, and that's what I was just looking on. And I can't so I have one of you and I at our 20-year class reunion. Um, how do I do this? Here's this one. We're at our 20-year class. Is this our 20-year?
I think our 20, yeah.
15 years ago. Here we are.
Yep.
But I will find the one of us. I'll,
Our senior prom.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
I had the white dress on. What color was your dress?
blue sequence like a mermaid.
Yes. Yes, like I remember it, and your hair was banging.
Yeah. Hi. So I'll have that next podcast, I promise.
Did you by chance have you heard there is so much Teresa shit to talk about? I mean, I I feel like Teresa is fully aware of the fact that she is on her last leg and they are grasping for any and every straw that they can find. I mean, it is Desperado City. You do not go on your daughter's podcast after you tell the whole world that your brother and sister-in-law are using you for a storyline forever. But she goes on Gia's podcast, Chris, and has a two-part um there's part one and part two with Teresa. And basically, the whole thing is a Melissa and Joe bashing session and trying to reframe Teresa and, trying to blame editing for the fact that
She got a bad.
Louis looks as bad as he did because he got a bad edit. Right.
I saw a reel of it of Gia referring to her uncle. She says, "Your brother." She doesn't even call him her uncle. So, what are they talking about? They're just.
Gia asked Teresa just softball questions the whole time. So, what was it like filming for the first time? I mean, it's just like it's down memory lane. It literally should have been, and it should have been titled Memory Lane. Which don't they sit there and talk all the time about the fact that they don't want to talk about Melissa and Joe and they hate talking about them, but yet here they are still trying to turn a paycheck on them.
Mm.
Teresa says, I never thought I was going to be a TV and movie icon.
Ah.
And Gia had to correct her, Mom, you're not a movie icon. And Gia asked her if she would do it all again. And Teresa said yes.
Of course she would.
But can you imagine?
Poor Gia. She's got to take this family. She's going to be the matriarch next, right?
Well, the sad thing is, I really think that the burden that they're putting on Gia is unfair.
Exactly.
And I don't, and I know that Gia is stepping up. And in one breath, what's she gonna do? I
Right.
mean, tell me at this point, what choice does she have? When
Exactly.
she's in the sinking ship, right? The ship is sinking. She's in it. What's she gonna do? She's bailing.
She's
She's trying to
trying.
bail that water.
Right.
And
She's
she's
trying.
trying to, ride on the coattails of history and praying to God, I'm sure, that her next gen show takes off.
Well, I did hear that it's better than you think it is, so I will tune into it just to
You
see.
did? What'd you hear?
I did on two judgy girls. They one of them said she liked it.
Really?
So I will tune in. I didn't think I would. I mean, it's who knows?
Okay, but I need more. What else? What, like,
She
more
didn't go.
details?
She didn't go into it. She just
Two
said
judgy girls, those are the ones from that's the Bay in LA,
Mary from
like
the Bay,
us.
Mary from the Bay, and Courtney from LA. Two
Yes.
podcast, and one of them said that they liked it. So I will tune in because I like them, and I
Trust them.
yeah.
Well, you let me know.
I of course I will.
I mean, she didn't, all she said was, I like it.
Said it was better than she thought it was going to be.
Yeah, but is better than you thought it was going to be good enough to invest your time in?
I think so. I think so.
Well, give it a go. You let me know.
Valley, I can't stop. And at first it was like, I'm not watching Jax Taylor on
Can
TV.
I ask you a question? Do you or do you not think Janet Caperna looks just like,
My sister Tamara
no, Heather
McDonald, Heather who? Dexter? Heather who?
Rogers?
Oh, that's funny. I know. Heather does my hair. Um,
You don't think that that Janet looks like Heather?
I can see what you're saying. They have the same body type.
Even Mike goes, am I crazy? Doesn't that girl look just like Heather?
That's funny. Heather or Janet is driving me nuts. I can't believe I think last podcast I said
I have a lot of thoughts about Janet too.
I think I like Janet. No.
Well, didn't we say we were going to give her another window? And if she impressed us again, then we were going to like her. We didn't give her a free pass.
No, and the only reason we liked her was because of the Dave and Buster.
Dave and Buster.
That's because she likes to play games and she came with a fanny pack or whatever. But yeah, I'm over that bitch.
Yeah. No, I know. It was a lot this week.
Yeah.
It
So
was a whole lot. But back to Teresa real quick. Gia in this absolute joke of an interview says, well, Mom, at least you have daddy's family to teach you what real family is all about.
oh boy.
I'm telling you, I mean, poor Teresa. But what kind of a position are you in where you have to go on your daughter's podcast and talk about all this like Gia was even asking her like how did Bravo handle it, Mom, when you went away? Like asking her like behind the scenes, like how did desperate, like trying to, like, the horse has been dead for a while. Nobody
I like that. Trying to like that match.
Yeah, nobody cares. At this point, nobody cares about the conversations that happened behind the scenes before you went to jail. Like they're really trying to extract every little bit of moisture that they can, but their juice is gone.
Right. And this morning you texted me and told me she's at Chuck Chansey Casino.
And you tell me, sis, what displays her desperation any more than that? Any
Yeah, it is in the armpit of the world.
I mean, we are California girls. We love it through and through. But if there is a place in California that is the pit, it is that.
Where, yeah.
I mean, I've stopped there so many times on my way back from camping at Yosemite.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a casino and resort. Not,
It's a casino and resort, but it's like in the middle of nowhere.
yeah. in
She's
Boone.
traveling from New Jersey to California to go there.
I'm sure she flew into Sacramento.
I prayed, flew into Sacramento to get to Fresno.
Right.
For the love of God, I sure hope that that is just one of many stops.
Yeah.
I
Good
mean,
luck.
yeah, no, truthfully, I did used to love to go and play some slots there on my way back from Yosemite.
Yeah.
You know, because
I,
that honestly, that's a great trip. If you can go to Yosemite and get a little gambling in, like that's my jam. I love that. I'm a Yosemite girl.
oh, for sure.
I love Yosemite. We're a Yosemite family. In fact, we're over. When was the last time you were at Yosemite?
Long time ago.
I mean,
The Awani Hotel with that huge fireplace.
I
It's
mean that
the
huge,
best.
isn't it gorgeous?
Yeah.
It is so gorgeous. I love it there. Speaking of Paul, that's where I lost my virginity. And
At the Awani Hotel?
not at the
You said,
Awanti Hotel,
at
but
you
at Yosemite in Tuolumne Meadows. Yep, Paul came on vacation with us. I mean, I think I how I lost my virginity when I was 17. How old were you?
3 years younger. That's
So I was 17,
I was
and,
four.
and, and it only happened because well, truthfully, Paul was camping with us. We had just got that motor home. We went up to, and can you imagine my dad? I remember my dad was drinking beers, driving that motor home along 32-foot motor home, a long motherfucker. And we're all in it. My dad is got a rotation of cores. You know, they're called, he literally has them. And there was a rotation,
As
right?
roadies.
Yeah, but you have to put a warm one in to
Oh,
cool while there's like a rotation and you have to fill the backstop up. So there's my dad. And I remember thinking, I don't even know if we're going to make it to the camps. I don't even know if we're going to make it there because that was how harrowing
wow.
the ride was. But then we got there and Paul and I had been together for, I think like at least 2 years at this point. And so I was kind of planning it. And then my dad had me and Paul sleep in a tent and they put my brother in the same tent. And my brother slept like a log. You know what I mean? Like out.
Of
But
course.
they figured if my brother was sleeping with us, nothing was going to happen. And I think they took the three oldest, me, Paul, my brother, out of the motorhome so my dad could have alone time with my mom. And then lo and behold, my brother was out, and my brother used to do this thing when he was in this deep sleep. He had this whistle that
Oh,
he would breathe. And
hilarious.
so anyway, then it was the time, then it was time, and it was all of like 30 seconds or whatever. But I remember like I kind of I just got weirded out after it happened. And then I kind of icked out and I went into the motorhome because I just kind of wanted I don't know. I don't know what
Yeah.
happened to me. But and then I cold shouldered Paul. Imagine my poor Paul, who I loved, who I loved so much at this point, but this was just my own personal shit. And I fully cold shouldered Paul like the next day, hardly even talked to him. Imagine that poor guy.
Didn't
He
know I
just we de-virginized. I mean, it was his first time, but here he is. With me, we do this together, and then I don't talk to him, and he's on vacation with my family.
I can I
It's
can
absolute. I telling you, I still feel bad to this day, but I mean, that's just part of life, right? That's the
you
shit
didn't
you
know how
have
to
to go through. I mean, that's a memory. I remember when, Jen and I had sex for the first time, and then she didn't talk to me for 36 hours when I was on vacation camping with her family.
right and up in everyone's
And
face.
I just didn't want to, like, I was just like this. Like, I'm like, don't touch me.
I
And
can
then
see
it passed, and then we were good to go. And then everything was fine in that department. But that first time just kind of sketched me out a little bit. And that was probably because my parents were fucking right there. Right? I was probably and my brother was like
let alone Brian right there.
asleep, dead asleep.
That's so great story.
Anyway, so yeah, so I have a very soft spot
For Chuck
for
Chansey.
Yosemite and Chachansey, and I hope Teresa has a lovely time there. But still, the fact
Right.
that she is doing Chachansey is it's almost sad at this point. That like have you seen like even like Louis TikTok, all of that stuff?
No.
He's like gone almost dark.
Dark as in speaking or dark he's not on?
Dark he's not on.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, I mean both of them. Teresa's stories, which used to be populated with all kinds of stuff that she was doing, sad.
Yeah, it really is.
Sad. Well, according to Teresa, she still didn't do anything wrong. All she did was put her John Hancock. She's very proud of herself that she knows that expression. She says that 100 times on that podcast. All I did was put my John Hancock on. I just went to a signing and I put my John Hancock on something.
Oh, she's talking about why she got went to prison.
Yes,
Oh,
yes, yes. But what she fails to mention is that John Hancock went on a loan application, um, stating that she was a realtor and made $150,000 a year, which she didn't and never was. I mean, come on, Teresa,
right.
a realtor, you have to pass a test for that.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's that. Speaking of desperado, what about our poor Sonia Morgan?
What happened? She was taken away in an ambulance from
Yeah,
a from a
but
bar.
what happened is that she is in a delusional state. I think like she has been progressing towards for quite some time now. She went to Tucci in New York City and lied and said that she was, or they brought her the bill. She said, I'm not supposed to be paying for this. I'm supposed to be comped. I'm a celebrity.
Get me
And
out.
then lo and behold, the manager or the owner or whatever called her and said, "No, that's not how it goes, and that was never the agreement, and you need to pay your bill." And then she left there and literally just either the next day or a couple days later was down in Palm Beach and she did the same thing. And they came down and that's the one where she got taken away on the ambulance and she pulled the same shit there.
So she went away in an ambulance because she was throwing a fit in order to say, I need an
Well,
ambulance.
I personally think she was just probably got so embarrassed and tried to make it out like she was the victim and needed help.
Right.
Once she realized that everyone was onto her.
Sonia stays at Josh Flagg's house a lot, and she not once but twice has left the bathtub running and it's overflowed, and it shows him in his kitchen with water dripping through the ceiling.
Well, I'm just going to tell you something. You don't do stuff like that unless you are blackout drunk. Or, sorry, that has something to do with drinking too much and forgetting what you're doing. Either that or what's the problem? Maybe she has full blown, is she early stages of dementia or Alzheimer's? What's happening? No, it's not. It's Sonia's own delusion and inability to realize that she is not living the same life that she used to live. That poor thing.
Yeah, I really like her.
God, I love Sonia so much. It breaks my heart to see her in this state.
Yeah, yeah,
She's great. Too bad.
yeah, exactly.
Poor sweetie. Let's talk about the fact that what are they called? The Fox Force 5.
Oh,
That nearly all of the Fox Force 5 came together for Kyle's daughter's engagement party.
I saw that. So it was Teddy, Lisa Rinna, Kyle, Dorit.
Dorit.
Dorit was there.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think Erica was there. Mauricio was there. And everyone was making such a big fuss about, oh my God, is Mauricio there? Of course Mauricio's there. It's an engagement party for his daughter. Of course he's there.
Yeah.
And then speaking of Beverly Hills, did you hear that there's all this talk about Heather Dubrow possibly coming over to Beverly Hills?
No.
There's all this talk about Heather Dubrow possibly coming over to Beverly Hills just because she took a picture with a bunch of the Beverly Hills girls. But I think that's ridiculous. I don't think Heather belonged just because they live in LA now or they're living in Beverly Hills. That's
Yeah,
matter. She's a part of the Orange County fabric. I don't think that you uproot her and think that, you lose the history. You lose all the history that she has with those women, and that's history is what makes everything so good.
right. I don't think she should go either. I doubt it.
Speaking of Erica, though, she wasn't in that picture, but I did run into Erica. I left my computer at work, which has all of my notes in it for this. And so when I realized that, I ran to the salon and Erica was there, and I haven't seen her since before she went to Broadway. So I congratulated her on her Broadway run. And we ended up having the loveliest conversation. And I will just say this. I know everybody has a lot of opinions about Erica, but I have said it before and I will say it again. She is an absolute angel. She is a peach. And I'm not gonna talk about the stuff that we talked about, but I am going to ask her on so that we can talk about it because it was beautiful and she is a lovely, lovely person.
I would love to see her on
She
Generally.
is, she is, she is she's a good egg. She really is. She's a good egg. Okay, so this week on the shows, I think we just start with just touch on Atlanta. I'm just gonna say that Charles and the Nose are the most uncomfortable couple I've ever seen.
I mean, does he want to be with her?
No, no. And watching her try to convince the world that he does is uncomfortable.
Yeah, that
And
was
I feel like this happens a lot with couples who are like this. I almost feel like they put themselves in this position because they know that the heat is either gonna push them one way or push them the other. Sorry, this guy is not into her.
at all.
I mean, he can't be. He's not into her. He's too concerned about what the world thinks about him. You can just tell he's stuck in his head.
And he's just floating the bill for her whole family. Is that also
And
what's
also floating the bill for her 5 houses that she bought or something for her to flip.
right? Yeah,
Yeah, so I feel like this whole episode was just basically about their weirdness and then the weirdness brewing between Portia and Shamia,
right. Exactly. That's all it was.
which was sad. When I saw the two of them at that lunch,
Dinner, yeah, or lunch.
that was hard to watch.
It was really sad.
It was sad. I fucking cried. It's a lot
Yeah, and
because they do have a history and they do have such a genuine friendship. Portia loves her.
yeah, she was being a bitch and bringing the moms into it,
I mean,
and Portia yawning and moving her fork, acting just dismissing Shamia's feelings.
just fully dismissing Shamia's feelings. There was something recently where it was Shamia's birthday and Portia posted for her birthday. So at least that gave me a little solace because the thought of, I mean, it would be so sad to think that Shamia gets on this show and we're not even a season in and it's already destroyed their friendship.
But then I heard that the next day she also posted, "You're talking bad about my mother," when she saw the episode. She was saying,
Oh, really?
but she wasn't. She didn't say anything bad about her mother. She was just talking about their.
Right. Yeah. No, I know. There's a lot there, especially when she's like, our parents have beef, historical beef. I'm like, oh God, there's so much more there that we don't even know about.
Right. And Portia, this isn't her season. I'm happy that Phaedra's coming back though this Sunday.
This Sunday,
Yeah, she'll bring it.
let's pray to God because I feel like I'm on the cusp with Atlanta right now.
Same.
Like I feel like it needs to get good immediately or I'm out because I don't need to sit there and listen to fucking
Drew or talk about.
yeah, I don't need to listen to Charles and his wife, I mean that feels weird.
Yeah. Same.
Um okay, so the Valley.
The Valley
What
was
about the Valley?
great. The episode is about everyone's going wine tasting and Jesse, wow. Jesse Lolly, he likes to drink a lot.
And
Just
I can't take the headbands. What are they for?
to smash his hair down.
But I don't understand, why do we need to smash his hair down? They don't work and they just look like they're sitting on his head like a loon.
He may have a cowlick and he's trying to push it down, but it's horrible.
It
He did,
doesn't work.
he did look good though on Watch What Happens Live. I hate to say, but
Speaking of Watch What Happens Live, did you remember in the episode where the counselor says to him, "Why don't you try screaming in a
that's this episode.
yeah, when he said try screaming in a pillow, but on Watch What Happens Live, Andy asked Janet something about screaming in a pillow, and she goes, "Well, I don't know. I've never had to do that." But also such a crock of shit because you can't sit there in one breath and say, "Oh, I went through so much trauma with someone who had a drug and alcohol problem, and you weren't feeling the kind of frustration where you need to scream into a pillow." Sorry. Anyone that's dealt with someone with an issue like that has felt the need to scream into a pillow a time or two.
Heavy shit.
Yeah, but I don't know. I've never had to do something like that. They really, yeah, the two of them.
The audience was against her in all of the polls too.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. So that episode opens with them all coming down on Nia because of her husband's drinking. And you could just look at everybody in that room, and everybody was all fueled up on alcohol. Brittany was fueled up on alcohol. They were all drunk. They were all just like,
Everybody's drinking. You cannot judge somebody else's drinking just because because Nia didn't say that he was drunk. She just kept saying he was tired. Doesn't matter. He was tired.
he was tired.
And everybody knew he was drunk. They saw what he drank.
Right.
Except we didn't see what Janet saw when she was in the pantry. And here comes Danny. He said on Watch What Happens Live, he was going to get a White Claw. Janet's in there getting an Easy Mac. And he sees the bottle of tequila and takes it and takes a few swigs. He wasn't hiding it. He just saw it and took a swig. Who cares?
Right. Well, then Janet, well, why did he shut the door?
And it made me feel uncomfortable. Bullshit.
It made her feel uncomfortable because she didn't want to see it. I mean, come on. Also, how about this? Let people live their lives, right? You don't need to police other people's lives. I think it's a testament to like maturity, and you can tell that they're all just very young. And I mean, we all did that when we were younger, over inserted ourselves into other people's lives when we thought they had a problem. And then you get to the point where you realize that, shit comes up in everybody's life, and that's for them to work out and figure out. And they don't need to stress so much. They just need to stay in their own lane and worry about themselves.
Exactly. Well, and then and it's funny because then they had the dinner, to say sorry to Nia about what they did. So everyone's taking shots and drinking before they talk to her and say, "I'm sorry about what we did to Danny."
Right. And then she was just feeling upset because then Janet goes on and says, "I had a relationship with somebody. I struggled with someone with drugs and alcohol." And she's like, "Drugs and alcohol?" But I mean, the fact of the matter is people get hung up on that. It doesn't really matter if it's drugs and alcohol, just drugs, alcohol, sex. I mean, whatever someone is indulging in to that point, you don't. I think that everyone is looking at Danny because I do think that he does look like he has a dark side, Danny, to me.
Yeah, they call him Dark Side Danny.
I can see the dark side of the Danny, and it is true that people do need to get right with the darkness in themselves, or you do start covering the darkness with shit like, lukewarm tequila. But
I feel like they do work on their stuff behind closed doors, is exactly what she says also.
And I do think that there was a lot of maturity in that, and it's true that everybody else doesn't need to understand it. If you're dealing with it behind closed doors, they don't know that they're not dealing with it.
Right.
They're just assuming. And I also thought it was absolute bullshit, and it made me really pissed off. when Nia sat there and she explained to that table why she approaches things the way that she does, and then she gave the backstory about the living in the car and all of the hardships that she went through with her family being, homeless and not having money, and her deciding to consciously lean into the positivity and them trying to reframe that as her not wanting to look at the truth. No, no, no. That's absolute bullshit. Because the fact of the matter is, once you have seen life in its really in the really hardest parts of life, when you have really been through it and you've lived in someone else's backyard or on a stranger's couch, and when you've really seen that, you get to the point where you realize, listen, that was what it was, and if I'm going to transcend that, I need to start looking at the positive side of life and what can this teach me, instead of, I really think that it shows maturity on her part, the fact that she is trying to explain to them that everything that she has been through has shifted her perspective and allowed her to look at the upside of things and, the good parts of it, instead of,
Like glass half full.
yeah. And it just pissed me off, the fact that they sat there and tried to make it out like she was denying the truth, instead of just looking at the bright side of life, looking for the silver linings, looking for, I mean, that is what life is. You have to keep looking for the silver linings, and,
Exactly.
and rooting yourself in gratitude, and continue to root yourself in gratitude, even when the shitty stuff happens. Right. And I think that's all she's doing.
Yeah. So I think everybody heard it except for Janet. Janet just can't.
Or
Jasmine.
Jasmine.
No, but I think Jasmine's fight is different because he did something directly to her and her partner. So,
Okay, well, you just brought me right back into this. I just had this conversation with my daughter, who was working a job, and something similar happened to her that happened to your,
Jasmine,
yeah. And she was very rattled by it. And I said to her, honey, the fact of the matter is that what happened is absolute bullshit and it shouldn't happen. But we are sitting here in this collection of humanity, and everybody is at a different point. And not everyone that you meet is going to treat you in the way that you should be treated. And that's just a fact of life. That's not normalizing it. That's not anything. That's just a fact of life. You're going to meet people that disrespect you, that cross boundaries, and it is up to you to become so solid inside that when that happens to you, you can't sit there and say, "Oh, that shouldn't happen to me. That shouldn't happen to me." No, it shouldn't have happened to you. But the real flex is how you bounce back from that. When you just realize that it's kind of like what we were saying earlier, that when someone does something to you, it's really about them and it's not about you. And you have to understand that not everybody's in your spot. People do fucked up shit, and you can't let what happens to you dim your light. You just can't, because that's their shit. And they're gonna have to live with that. And that lesson will come back to them at some point. And
yeah. And I think we're going to see it because that's what Janet and her husband said on Watch What Happens Live, that just keep watching Danny.
so what do you mean? There's like more Danny?
Yeah.
Well, I do think that Danny there's a little dark side in Danny that he needs to work out.
Yeah. So I think we're going to see it.
Because
And
until you bring light to whatever's dark inside of you, it's going to keep showing up.
exactly.
It's like I say all the time, until you heal the wound always wins. Well, that wound is what causes his darkness or whatever keeps tripping him up.
Yeah.
Also, he's a trippy dude. He is a trippy dude, isn't he? I don't know.
I know.
She's a beautiful girl.
Beautiful.
She is a beautiful girl.
And I don't really know him from movies and whatnot either. I don't think of him as the Hollywood dude. So
No, what was he on, like Boy
I don't
Meets
even,
World or something?
I don't know. I don't really even know. Um, And this episode also, Luke got a ring for Kristen.
Kristen,
I think he's so sweet. I think
he is
he's
so
so
sweet. I know.
I think
I
he's
know.
the
I feel like I haven't heard an announcement, but I feel like Kristen must have had the baby.
the next few days I saw something online.
Started because when I was talking to her in the salon, I could have sworn she said April.
Oh. Yeah, no, I saw a thing on Instagram. She's ready to pop any day.
Yeah, she's got to be. I
And
mean,
he
'cause
said
when I saw her, she didn't have much time left.
and he was on Brittany's podcast and says that he wants to have more than one kid. He said, "Yep, after the baby's 3 or 4 months, I'm going to try to impregnate her again."
I think Kristen's looking great. I'm loving Kristen on the Valley. When she walked into that dinner party in flip-flops and no bra, I was like, that a girl. And also in confessional, I just appreciate the fact that Kristen will go in fully no bra, flip-flops, not a stitch of makeup, hair on her head. I love that. And then in confessional, I think she's looking just gorgeous. I think
Mm-hmm.
I think Kristen's looking better than she ever has, honestly.
Yeah, everything. The
Ever. They've got a new place.
yeah.
They've got a new place. I know. I'm excited for them. What
Yeah.
about so who else did we have? Oh, they talked about Zach's hair.
I love Zach. I think Zach is
I
hilarious.
think Zach is getting better and better.
I do too. I
And
think,
also, I don't understand the confusion about his hair. We all know people that have Brillo pad hair, right?
yeah,
I know a couple, we all do. Like that's not a wig.
right. And we know it's not a wig now, but
No, we know it's not a wig. So was that it?
Summer House.
No,
You,
no, no. I meant for
oh,
the Valley. Oh, I know it.
I thought you meant us out in. I'm ready to go.
No, but for is that it for the Valley?
Yeah, not too much.
What there wasn't, right?
There wasn't. It was mostly just them coming at Mia about Danny.
Um, okay, yeah, so Summer House. What about it?
I can't believe it's over.
It's I thought this episode was great.
All the episodes were great.
And okay, well then you're gonna make me jump to the end right now when that dingaling Danielle sits there when they're all looking at the final party, when Lindsay and Kyle are looking at the final party and Danielle, yeah, this is over. This is over. I'm
Right.
telling you, she's such a hater.
She
She
is.
is such a hater.
It's a new beginning. I
Yeah.
mean,
Why does it have to be an end? Why is it over? Just because Lindsay's having a baby?
right. I feel like, and there's a lot of just the girls. They could have their own spin-off.
I
I
mean, there's so much left in the summer house. Come give me a break.
exactly.
Also, what they should be saying is that it's over for them. But truthfully, if they want to graduate out of the summer house, if Kyle and Amanda want to graduate out of the summer house and go live grown-up lives, if Lindsay wants to go raise her baby and why can't we just go with like, isn't that why we keep bringing new people in so that you can have a continual, you know what I mean?
exactly love for these people. Wes, I want to see Wes.
Right. You just got to know West. And so then West stays for a few years and you bring some new people in on the end of that, right? Why does it have to end?
I really liked Emerald, didn't you?
I did like Emerald, and I thought the fact that he brought a whole new vibe was interesting.
Right. I really liked him. And what about, remember the girl in the very beginning was her name Bailey? She was on
Yeah, Bailey.
one
Apparently she was in a relationship or something and she lied to the producers about how available. And I can kind of see them not wanting a cast member. They want cast members who are open to romantic relationships, right? It only makes
episode.
sense.
Right. And that's Lexi. I don't think Lexi will be back. Do you?
I kind of think that that's why Lexi staged that drama at the end with
Of
Jesse
course she was.
so that we could feel like we were invested in the closure of that relationship. And so that then she will be asked back just so that they can ask Jesse back. And then we can see those sparks fly again and see some maybe type of resolve. I don't know.
I'm
Or
over
maybe
it.
not. Maybe they go at each other's throats. Maybe, who knows?
I'm over it. Now I
I'm
don't,
over her, to be honest.
right.
I'm
Same.
over her. I'm annoyed with her. And I'm not annoyed with Sierra. And I'm not annoyed with Paige, but I'm annoyed with Lexi and her very immature way has shown through. And I was very, very glad that Paige stuck up for Jesse in the end.
Me too yeah.
So, so glad. And I was also so glad that Sierra stuck up for West. And I was grossed out on the way Gabby was full on up her ass, up Lexi's ass, and not even allowing Jesse. I'm not down for that. That just felt
Right.
like
Yeah.
cancel culture to me, and I don't like that. Don't,
Yeah.
Jesse, you don't need to talk. Yes, he does need to talk.
Yeah. He has a voice and he has his
He has
time.
very much a voice, and he was half of this relationship. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And also, who are you? We haven't seen you have any romantic relationships in 3 years. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Gabby. I think she is a hot, badass bitch, but what does she know?
No, and she's not bringing anything anymore. She just twerked. Who was she twerking on somebody at the
A
park?
ghoul. She was
Yeah.
on a dead person,
Right.
on a hired dead person. Gabby, sorry, at this point can go.
Yeah, that's what I think.
But I do think she is gorgeous.
Kyle says he has 5 more summers in him. And
I believe it.
I do too. I believe it.
I 100% believe it.
I mean, drunk Kyle at
Why
night.
do we need to end this? I'm very invested in what happens with Carl in Soft Bar. I'm invested in what happens with Kyle and Amanda and how they decide to grow their family. I would love to see next year Lindsay's there and maybe one day she brings the baby, just one day,
For a barbecue.
just one day for a barbecue.
Right.
I mean, we all grow and
We
evolve.
have been with them for so many
It
years.
seems like ridiculous. The only reason why Danielle says this is over is because she's no longer part of the program and she's only there as a guest. She's such a hater. I'm telling you that.
Yeah. CEO Danielle. Yeah, so I can't.
CEO Danielle. And then what about at the table when that stupid Lexi says, you prevented the girls from bonding with me this year. That's when I think the girls were like, sorry, you lost us.
Right. She said to Sierra, I couldn't even be Sierra's bestie.
Sierra's like, did you try?
Yeah, that
And then she's like, well, no, I didn't try.
just reaching.
But I was so glad that Wes piped up and Gabby just wouldn't shit.
Too.
And then we go upstairs. Paige is stressing out because she's about to go on tour and she can't figure out why she's not excited about it.
Yeah.
The whole Craig thing has been very enlightening,
Wow.
right?
That when they, and then so now they're at Lindsay's, or not
But hold on, but
Yeah.
before we go to Lindsay's, did you see when the guys decided that night, when those girls went to bed, the guys decided to go out, and then did you see they came home? Kyle came home with that Easter egg, and did you see?
And
Did
Wes,
you see him in his bedroom tiptoeing across the room with that hat on?
yes, his oversized cowboy hat.
I'm sorry. I don't know why that guy entertains the shit out of me. I could have just watched him cross the room.
Well, him and Wes brought up all the sandwiches to
Holy
his bed.
shit, I know.
There's nothing better than a drunk eat.
There's nothing better than a drunk eat.
I'm still dry. I'm still dry.
Are you surprising yourself?
It's weird. I was watching all the people at the baseball game and seeing what they would drink and eat. I'm like, this guy's already had chicken boneless buffalo wings, and now he's eating a piece of pizza and a beer, another beer. Yeah, yeah, my third sober baseball game.
Play ball, baby.
Yeah.
Play ball. Then the guy set up for the final birthday or for the final party. This was right around Halloween, so everyone, it was a technical Halloween party.
Lindsay dressed like the Handmaid's Tale.
I mean, how perfect.
Bravo.
Bravo. I mean, it was all so good. I thought Amanda looked amazing, and the fact that she was willing to get in that coffin, I'm not down with the coffin shit. I
Never.
do not like that at all.
No, yeah, that gave me the,
Did you see, speaking of Amanda? Oh my God, did you see her with that life-size fucking gross ass spider wrapped around her?
yes, look at you.
It freaked it.
The coffin freaked me out. I thought Jesse looked great.
Can I tell you that the spider grossed me out almost on the level that that stuff grosses us out? You know that stuff?
Yeah, yeah. No, I can see this. I could do
You
this.
know that stuff.
Yeah, I know the stuff.
What's it called?
the,
What's it called? The bean?
you mean the ticks? People that glue beans to their body and pretend that it's ticks. Well, it's called something when you're grossed out by textures and oh,
I told you that it's
I
been
can
my
talk about.
problem since I was a kid and we drive down the 101. I used to look at the mountains and think that the trees looked like ticks.
Yeah,
I hate that shit.
I
And
can
those
talk about it.
beans,
I can't see it. I
I'm
can,
telling you something. I'm afraid my phone's probably listening right now and it's going to cue that shit up for me. And then I'm going to have to send it to you again because I
right.
can't deal with it on my own. I'm sorry. I have to share it with you.
I know. I can talk about it. I can't see it. Anyways, I thought Jesse looked amazing. His hair down and slicked to the
What
side,
about Jesse just diving headfirst into that pool of blondes?
back into the world of girls. And did you see Lexi's face?
Dude, I did. She was tracking him.
Yeah, and he brings the girls into the house, which I don't think people are don't bring people into the house. And
How amazing was Sierra with her? I love Sierra. She is just so on point all the time. Did
she's
you see
sweet.
her? She's just like sweeping him out.
Yeah, that
But
was
the
fun.
conversation that Jesse had with her in there, I thought was so sincere.
With Sierra.
No, the one that Jesse had with Lexi about
Oh, yeah,
how,
she came in the house.
yes, and they were in the kitchen together.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, I'm going to stand by it. I've said this the whole time. I really do think that he was into her. And I know the Sierra flirting was excessive and it was out of line. And I think that had they had a little more ground under their feet, that wouldn't have happened. But yeah, yeah, I think Jesse had all the good intentions.
I do too.
I really do.
Yeah, I think, her being mad that he didn't come over and meet the friend. He was already at an appointment getting a manicure, even though it was 9 o'clock at night. It's in New York. Things run differently there.
They
I,
do. And if you're in the middle of something already, what are you going to do?
right. I'm getting a manicure. It wasn't him blowing her off.
No. Speaking of blowing her off, I feel like there was some type of blowjob situation we were supposed to talk about.
Oh, when I sent you, you mean somebody giving that? Or I sent you a video of a grandmother taking a blowjob shot because you were talking about
Oh, yeah.
the drinks the other day.
No, yeah, the last time that we recorded, we were talking about those girls in Atlanta. They like to do the armless shots, and we were talking about can your mouth even fit around? Yeah. And so I got up to try to freaking find a shot glass, which I couldn't even find to see if my mouth could fit around it because I don't do shots. And some diggling on here is like, oh, she's wasted. Did you see that?
Oh, yeah. Someone said you were
That
wasted
I was wasted
on our podcast.
on our podcast, please.
Yeah, well, you brought out some raspberry lemonade thing from
Yeah.
Trader Joe's, and we're talking about it, and someone thought you were wasted on the pod.
Yeah, I know. Yes, I know. Hi, Louie. So yeah, Jesse says to Lexi, I don't like the way you're coming after my character. And she says, well, I don't like the way you came after mine. And like he's like, I didn't come after your character. I was asking my girlfriends for advice about somebody that I cared very much about. That's all he was doing.
And he also said, I'm on a reality show. This is what we do.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Um, and then the girls go upstairs and they talk about Paige and Amanda and Sierra talk about how much they're going to miss each other. And I thought it was so sweet.
Yeah, because they were spending so many weekends together. I know.
I know they really are a cute little crew. And then just a few weeks later, we find out about Paige and Craig. Those headlines came out.
Yeah. And for us to learn her side. And when she said, one of the final straws was, why are you doing this before you see the ring that I bought you? And she was thinking, I know you're lying.
Yeah. Fuck, isn't that true? Like if you sense that someone is going to talk about something that serious and use it to manipulate you, which that's what that was, right? I wish you wouldn't say that before you saw the ring. Like that would change everything. The ring that didn't exist.
Right.
That was just his like most desperate straw that he could pull. Please.
And she also said that when he went to the house for Thanksgiving, before that, he was saying, do you ever visualize us
Yeah.
with our family? And she said, I actually don't. And you need to be with somebody that will do this and make you happy.
And she's 100% right.
Exactly.
If you can't see a future with someone, if you're not in it, you need to get out.
Yeah. Also, he's dead to her now because she said,
Oh,
people are
okay.
coming after me.
Yes, this was huge,
This is,
right?
yeah.
This was huge. And this was another one of those things that I sat there and said, fuck yes. And abso-fucking-lutely. And sorry, but that is true. If everything he ever said about Paige was true and the way he felt about Paige, and you should have enough respect for your relationship that even if it ends, you're not going to allow someone
Be in
to,
her corner.
yeah, you're going to stand up for her and say, no, that's not what went down, right? That's like honoring your relationship and the sanctity that you hopefully once had. And you would hope that the person that you were that solid with would continue to hold space for you in that way.
Right. Yeah, she said, people are coming after me saying I cheated on you, and you know that's not true. Please say something. And
And the fact that he did it, right?
he said, I can't. I
I would
was
have said the same fucking thing. At that point, you're dead to me.
dirty dog
Dirty dog. I would want nothing to do with him at that point.
ever. Yeah.
Ever. And also and then at that point, everything that all the good feelings and thoughts that you held about that relationship, then that's when you think, was any of it even real?
Exactly.
Because if you're gonna ditch out on me now, then it was all conditional.
Mm-hmm.
And none of it was real.
Yeah. I can't. I can't.
And the fact that Paige said that her dad says, oh, I instantly so quickly feel like I'm getting my daughter back.
Right. Your character's back. Your energy has changed.
What about the fact that they went over to Lindsay's and saw that sweet little Gemma?
I was crying when
I was bawling too.
and I believe her when she says she's the most beautiful baby, and you can't tell me anything different. I believe too, Lindsay.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, and they tasted the breast milk.
They tasted the breast milk and loved it.
And loved it.
Did you ever taste your breast milk?
No,
I didn't.
I didn't. And I don't think I'd want to. Well, I don't know now. I may want to try.
Um, I'm going to tell you something. I never tasted my breast milk either. And now I feel like, why didn't I? I
Well,
don't
maybe
know.
when your daughters have a child.
Oh yeah, that'll be a different. I don't know. It was different. Yeah, I wasn't that granola back then. I would have grossed
Right.
out on that back then. I would have been like, I don't want to taste
Same.
breast milk.
Same. Yeah.
But now I feel like an idiot for not having done it.
Well, I'll try your daughters, and you will too.
I don't know when that's going to happen, but when it does.
Yeah. Loved it. I can't wait for the
And
reunion.
there was no ring.
Yeah.
He is,
He's a piece of work.
he's Craig Conover,
Yeah. The
right?
liar. The liar. Pinocchio.
Well, I think Craig's the kind that he's just always maneuvering. You know what I mean? Someone that's always maneuvering.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not who you want to be with. You don't want to be with someone who's always maneuvering.
Yeah.
You can't count on it, right?
Right.
Because you don't have to maneuver. When you move in truth and you move in integrity, you don't always have to maneuver, right? Because you're steady. But
Solid.
but Craig's not.
You're solid, just like I am. That's why I quit drinking because I want to be solid.
I say all the time too that like true sobriety begins with a sober spirit. The true sobriety where you're not just managing yourself
Right.
starts here. Otherwise, not drinking just becomes a management system, right? When you really heal the wound so that you're not over drinking and that you can just have a glass of wine, you know what I mean, or whatever, because you're not drinking to cover up a bunch of pain and you're sober in your spirit, then I think you can walk through the world and not be influenced by stuff just because you know who you are.
Right. And adding the hormones of having brain fog, that's what I was like, I need to figure this brain fog out
The
because
brain fog is the thing. And then you sit and wonder, like, exactly, Chris, like how much of the brain fog is age and how much of it is alcohol? And do you feel less brain foggy?
no, I still feel it. I need to go and get
I
that
think
out.
the brain fog, I personally think the brain fog is inflammation. And
Mm.
who know, I don't know where that comes from or if it's alcohol or a million other things, but
Or the Chinese food I had for dinner last night. I mean,
that's
yeah,
that's my exactly.
right.
No, but the brain fog is a real thing.
Yeah, and I
And the
can't.
brain fog is so disturbing that if you think that it's maybe alcohol, yeah, fuck yeah. You'll cut it out because nobody wants to be brain foggy.
Right. And I cut it out and it's still there. So I gotta get that dealt with.
It'll all happen.
It is. It's all happening. So
It's all happening. And now we have the summer house reunion to look forward to.
right. And Phaedra on Atlanta.
And Phaedra on Atlanta.
Frickin' frack.
We
Or
will see. I'm going to be really interested to see how that dynamic, like, where is Shamia going to fit into that?
right.
I don't know. I don't know how much more time I'm going to give Atlanta.
Well, you got to finish it out.
I don't know. That like the new girl, what's the new girl that she
I,
put the pictures up? I have no interest in
I
her.
don't even know their names
I
still.
I still have no interest in her.
right. Same.
Truthfully, I want almost all like I feel like maybe you could keep the short little sprocket girl, what's her name?
With the dog party.
Keep her as a new little added thing. We'll keep Portia, we'll keep Shamia, we'll keep Phaedra. I want Kenya back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want like our stable of Atlanta girls back. Keep bring in a couple new girls, but not all of them.
No.
Too
Well,
many. It was too many.
too much for us to learn. And they're not enough.
And I'm not into Angela Oakley. I
Right.
don't like that relationship. I don't need him.
Yeah. I like her, but I don't like them.
I don't like them at all. Maybe next season she'll be divorced from him.
Well, they do say that happens.
But the problem is I think that so much of them they tether their value to whoever their husband is so much. My husband is
Charles Barkley.
Charles Oakley or whatever the
Oakley.
fuck.
Oh, Charles
What's his
Barkley.
name?
Yeah, no, you're right. Oakley. I think. I
Okay.
don't know. Somebody, some,
Charles Oakley, right?
yeah, Oakley. Well, I really liked you and Joey last week. That was great.
How great is Joey?
He's amazing. I look at him now on TikTok.
Isn't he hilarious?
Funny. I really liked you guys together.
He is so cute. What a sweet guy.
Yeah,
He is such a sweet guy. He is he's coming to LA
that's
soon.
what he said.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe we'll
Get a
hook
little.
up and go talk shop.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll go run into Teresa somewhere. That would be so
That
hilarious.
was crazy town. She would know what to do.
Love it. Okay, babe. Well, I have to go. I have a coaching session with one of my guys in just a few minutes. So, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you?
Find me on Instagram, Christy Mays Garage.
Yes, Christy, our birthday girl. In fact, let's just because we haven't all done it together. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, my sweetheart. That'll make me cry too. Anyway, I love you so much. I'm so grateful for this time with you.
Me
Oh,
too.
silly. I love you, babe.
Love you
Talk
too.
soon.
Yep.
Bye. All right, everybody, that about does it for this episode of Generally Speaking. If you've been watching us on YouTube, please make sure you reach out and smash that subscribe button. If you've been listening on your favorite streaming platform, please make sure you give us a follow, leave us a 5-star rating. I would love that. If you'd like to collaborate or have a question you'd like answered on the pod, you can reach me at jennifer@jennifersnook.com. And if you'd like to find me on socials, you can find me on TikTok at This Is Generally Speaking or on Instagram at The Jennifer Snook. And if you want to get your hands on some of this adorable Generally Speaking merch, I will leave the link down below. All right, everybody, I have loved spending this time with you. Thank you so much for being here. And until we're together again, everybody, stay rooted in love. We'll see you next time.